What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast with your boys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fear.
Well, you know what's crazy is that most people, when they build a business, the first thing they do is they look at their competitors, right? They start. So let's say I was building a bar business again. The first thing they would do is look at every other bar company and start to see the similarities. And you get blinded. And all of a sudden, your company looks just like theirs. Same thing in the information marketing space. When was the last time you saw a product in the quote unquote internet marketing world that didn't end in a 7? Right?
Happens too much. Yeah.
It's insane. Or their marketing all looks the same and the same type of headlines and the same type of stuff. And again, a webinar, like you know what it's going to be. Here's this, and here's what we're going to learn, and here's the story, and here's what, and then all of a sudden it leads to this, and here comes the pitch. You could see it a mile away. And what I recommend people do, and what I do, I look outside of my industry. I didn't look at bar companies. Like when we were doing a redesign of our labels, because our brand was evolving, the first thing I did was I went to a site. It's great. It's called Beehive. It's amazing for graphic inspiration. I started looking up. Oh, you guys are going to write that down. You're going to put that in the notes.
It's the one note ever. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, actually, you know what? It's not Beehive. It's Behance.
Oh, come on. Behance. All right.
You see, I want to screw you guys up. I think it's like behance.net.
Okay.
And I would type in things like craft beer labeling, coffee companies. Yeah. And all of a sudden you see things completely different. You're like, oh my God. And this takes you on a different journey. So I've always done that with my businesses and marketing. I don't look at what everyone else is doing in my industry. I look at other industries. I was looking at mattress companies like Purple and seeing what their copy looked like and what their layouts were and what their colors were and their graphics. And I don't think people put enough thought into graphically how they're going to separate. They're so obsessed with the copy. And yes, copy is so important. It's so important. A crappy headline and they're gone. However, how much effort do you put into standing out, graphically? Is there a brand? Is there follow through? Like, does your font from the logo match the font of the other things and the color scheme? And I know it's a small thing, but if you want to build an actual company with legs where people are going to trust you as the go-to source for that particular type of information, there's something to be said about a consistency of brand and messaging and vibe all the way through, as opposed to, hey, I'm Johnny Guru. Here's how to juggle for 20 minutes. Here's how to make $1 million with an ice cream machine. And there's like these unrelated products. And now you've got 10 URLs and you're trying to build a Facebook page around each one of them. And you're doing a separate Facebook group because you're doing a launch. And now you've got 1 million properties and you feel overwhelmed and you cry into your pillow. Don't cry into your pillow.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No, pick one brand and like, what's your umbrella brand? And then you could build products underneath that.
Bingo.
No?
It's like an asset gathering hunt. Yeah, you have your umbrella and you have all these different little arms that happen. Yeah. That's pretty much what we're going to do with this launch that we talked about. And probably by the time it's live, it's out. Or this episode's live. It's going to be called Pod Hacker, and it's exactly what you just said. We're investing really for the first time into our branding, colors. We have great copywriters and all these folks that are helping us do this, because that's the stuff that Matt and I aren't looking at. Naturally, are these like, oh, is that a shade, or is that the hex a little different on that red to this one, which really happened yesterday. We're like, you can't see that? I'm like, no. But I know it matters, and it's gonna touch everything.
Well, you know what? You don't realize how much it matters until you see a company that has it together. And you look at their site and everything matches and everything feels like it's related and it's all part of the same family. And there's a feeling of comfort in that, especially if they buy something from you and you deliver a good experience, right? You deliver a good experience. Now they like you and trust you. And now there's going to be a much greater chance they're going to buy more stuff from you, as opposed to just every time feels completely different and unique. And there's no flow through. So it's good you guys are looking. Like there are color palettes that match with each other, right? As opposed to, running to Fiverr and getting the cheapest book cover, or worse, doing it yourself. Oh my God. Someone will spend 8 months writing a book and they won't spend like $200 getting a cover done or $500. They'll do it themselves in Microsoft Word, and it's like some clip art from 1985 with like a stupid looking dog. And like the lime green font in like cartoon font.
The cartoon font. I was just thinking of.
And you're like, please stop. How to build your own $1 million business. Come on, man.
From somebody who won't spend $200 on a book cover.
Right. Yeah. Oh God. Don't get me started.
No, it's true. I mean, I'm happy you brought this up. We just had Dan Norris on the podcast recently, and he was talking about how he's using a lot of branding to, he built WP Curve and launched that and, sold it all based off of a lot of what you're saying in the brand. He's doing that in the craft beer space too. I'm like, so this stuff translates all over the place. You're doing the same thing here online, of course. Now you have e-com stuff as well. That's been cooking for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so cool when you start to think of there's other stuff as us marketers we're not really thinking about a lot of times. We might be all obsessed with copy on, copywriting or Facebook ads, slapping together creatives that we think are going to catch attention, but maybe we're not thinking of the full brand and what the umbrella, feel is when someone enters our ecosystem.
Yeah, no, you're right. And most don't. We think very short term. We think immediate return. We think, what was our ROAS on that Facebook ad? And they're not thinking longer term. I'm not saying that stuff isn't important. We look at our numbers every day. Absolutely. But what we also look at, especially with the e-commerce company, is the customers. How many are return customers, right? Whereas I'm guessing most companies would be, 95% new, 5% returning. Get it to 50-50, like all the profits in the back end, it's with returning customers. We don't put enough thought into it. I'm not saying that has to be the only thing, because it's funny, there's the extremes, right? There are some that are like Madison Avenue branding, and it's all it is. It's so fluffy, there's no bite. And then there's the opposite, where it's all old school, Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, the uglier the better. Right? Where I think you thread the middle.
Yeah.
You combine the branding and the vibe with the direct marketing sensibility, and you bring it together, then it's like unbeatable. Like even though we focus a lot on our brand rewind, like I think I write all the copy, but I think it's maybe because I wrote it, I think it's pretty good. And we convert really high. Not hypey, right? And that's the other thing. Like Facebook, Google, they don't want hype. They don't want you to make people feel bad. They want their customers to have a good user experience. So they want companies that are going to lift people up. So stop trying to twist the knife so much, and maybe start pulling the knife out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's remove the weapon, huh?
Yeah. Stop. And one thing drives me crazy that I've known Ryan for a long time. I know Perry Belcher too. Yeah. He's a funny guy. But they came up with their term years ago called tripwire. And from the minute I heard that, I hated it. It has such a negative connotation. Like, the first experience you're going to have is you're trying to kill someone and maim them and blow them up. Now, I know that's an exaggeration, but that's what it is. Oh, it's a tripwire. It explodes. And Kevin Rogers, one of my buddies, we were talking years ago. We said, let's come up with a new name. And he said, let's call it a welcome mat.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm like,
heard that used. Yeah.
Ooh. So we've been saying that for years. And when I was coaching someone, I'll never forget this, years ago, this holistic MD, like, great practice, successful, doing all this great stuff. He's like, yes, Ryan. And what I'd like to do is set up the tripwire. I basically screamed at him. I said, Doc, you say it again, I'm hanging up on you. I will not work with you. You're a doctor. You heal people. You help them live. You're talking about tripwires? He's like, oh, I never thought of it like that. So no tripwires. Welcome mats, my friend. Welcome.
I like that. Welcome mats.